Sometimes you discover something in a movie so shocking you end up... Well, fortunately, I can edit that part out using Filmora 11, one of the easiest editors I've ever used. This is YeahIDunno, we're diving into top 7 strange discoveries ever found in movies and DVDs, Part 2. Check out the link in the description down below and try Filmora today completely free. Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame is a movie that superhero fans need no introduction, nor moviegoers in general, seeing as the 2019 film broke the record at the time for the highest grossing movie ever, ultimately being the second highest grossing movie of all time. As its title suggests, the film was intended to be the Endgame Marvel Cinematic Universe Avengers movie with years of films leading up to the movie's dramatic conclusion, in addition to being the third most expensive movie ever made. Considering the 3-hour epic's ambitious and all-encompassing nature, it only makes sense sibling directors Anthony and Joe Russo have gone on record twice saying the film has a number of Easter eggs that remain to be found. What those Easter eggs are and where they remain to be found is an ongoing mystery, as nothing's been confirmed since they've said this. And curiously, in the hunt for these eggs, viewers made an especially odd discovery once the movie dropped its Blu-ray after its extended theater run, as at one point in the film, Iron Man and Captain America travel back in time to 1970 to a military research base where Captain America briefly catches a look at the love of his life, Peggy, from the other side of an office window. It's a memorable moment despite there being no discernible dialogue, as Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, stares at Peggy like a weirdo from afar as she fails to recognize him literally less than 1 foot away. Interestingly, despite the scene primarily being just music and impossible for viewers to know what's being said in this moment, CBFW86 on Reddit noticed on the Blu-ray, when turning on the movie's subtitles, it surprisingly reveals a secret piece of dialogue that isn't audible in the movie. They're trying, man, but Braddock's unit has been stopped by lightning strikes. I'll look at the weather projections. It's not lightning strikes we're looking at. The hidden dialogue, which can only be revealed through the Blu-ray subtitles, opens up a number of interesting questions, as the discussion of lightning strikes that aren't actually lightning begs the question of what exactly they're referring to. Many believe it may be a reference to Storm from X-Men somehow making some sort of off-screen appearance. There's also the question of the reference to someone named Braddock, who fans speculate is a reference to Marvel character Captain Britain, being his actual name is Brian Braddock. Although the character has yet to appear in a Marvel movie, and it's unclear if the Braddock they're talking about is the man himself or perhaps someone related to the character, seeing as Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, accidentally runs into his own father in the same sequence. The whole reveal also poses an interesting question about the time travel sequence in general. Although Tony Stark and Steve Rogers' objective for traveling back in time was always to obtain a space stone and pym particles, why Tony Stark chose this exact date to travel to in 1970, a few months before his own birth, is never actually made clear in the movie and has been the subject of debate among fans.
Excuse me. 970. Are you sure?
This new piece of the puzzle has made many believe whatever's happening in the scene is possibly the reason for Tony Stark's choice of this particular date. What exactly the meaning of the scene is and all of its implications are still a mystery, and whether or not this mystery was the final secret to be found, or if it barely even cracks the surface of possibly hundreds of Easter eggs we still don't know about. At this point are questions that only the Russo brothers know the answer to. Stuck on You. Thanks to Zach David for submitting this mystery on the Oddheader Twitter. Stuck on You is a 2003 comedy film starring Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear about conjoined twins Walt and Bob, who for some reason are fraternal even though only identical twins can become conjoined. However, that's not the mystery we're going to be looking at. Instead, we're going to be looking at something lurking in the background right when the film begins. In this scene, when Walt and Bob are shown waking up and getting out of bed, when the camera cuts down to their feet, if you look very closely, you can see a person's face peeking through the shadows underneath the bed, tilted slightly to the side, looking rather sinister. So much so that if first-time viewers manage to see this thing as soon as the movie began, they get the impression that it's a horror film. Interestingly, I couldn't find any official source from the film make any sort of comment about this online. So I bought the DVD to listen to the director's commentary with sibling directors the Farley brothers, and was surprised that they acknowledged the face right at the beginning, saying they only noticed it after initial production of the movie was finished and had no idea why it was there.
By the way, there's a great shot coming up you gotta know about. Under the bed here, you gotta check this out. This blew our mind. Someone pointed out in post-production.
It's like an image of a
man's face. It appears to be a man's face. I don't know whether it's just the light hitting like a, it's like you can see between the legs there. It could be, we don't know what it is. Like,
hideous.
Someone said there were like baseball bats under there or something in a bag.
Dust, lighting, I don't know what.
It's an odd thing.
The Farley suggests that it may be sporting equipment, which does make sense if you buy your sporting gear from hell. But after looking at this so many times on repeat, there is no question to me that that's a face. What also appears to be an unsubstantiated trivia fact submitted on IMDb claims that the face is the executive producer of the movie Hiding Under the Bed. But IMDb trivia tends to be pretty unreliable, as anybody can submit anything, and I personally couldn't verify this anywhere. But if that is a person under there, there they're a master of not blinking or moving a hair. That said, the idea that it's just a prank on set by one of the producers is certainly plausible, considering the Farrelly brothers were well known in Hollywood for their elaborate ruses on the set of Dumb and Dumber, Shallow Hal, and There's Something About Mary. In fact, one notorious gag where the brothers would trick actors and crew into seeing Peter Farrelly's Little Peter got the award-winning director in Hot Water a few years back. While seeing this creepy face is certainly a horrifying discovery that no one was ever expecting to find in a Farrelly Brothers movie, it no longer seems like the most horrifying thing that could have shown up under the bed. Air Bud. Air Bud is a 1997 Disney film about a sad boy who finds friendship in a basketball-playing dog. That's about all there is to it. A film any kid who grew up watching Disney Channel remembers always being on, spawning over a dozen sequels and spin-offs that somehow managed to get progressively worse, as the dog somehow managed to get progressively more talented. Despite the ridiculous premise, Air Bud is probably the last film that you expect to find a shocking discovery in. That didn't stop college friends Lee Metzger and Josh Kramer, however, from making a discovery they maybe weren't meant to find when rewatching Air Bud in 2017, which can now be viewed better than ever due to its availability on streaming services. Metzger and Kramer said they already had a habit of pausing movie screens when newspaper clippings and other text appeared on screen to look for Easter eggs, and did so in Air Bud when a newspaper obituary for the main character's deceased father, a pilot, was briefly shown on screen. And to their surprise, they found that the newspaper clipping read, "Captain Fram is best known for being the only man to break the sound barrier with a banana and a long sports sock." Which, if you can put that image together in your head, a banana and a long sports sock is not exactly a wholesome Disney reference. It continues onward. His father, Luther Fram, was the daring pilot who during the Second World War flew in Haman Bibles to Muslim prisoners in Berlin, which is a rather surprising anti-Muslim message hidden in Air Bud, seeing as Muslims don't eat pork for religious reasons, nor would they appreciate a Bible being thrown at them. Metzger and Kramer couldn't find any record of any other viewer catching this small detail in the movie, making them the first to discover this hidden, deeply inappropriate Easter egg for a children's movie about a slam-dunking dog, 20 years after the film's release. To their surprise, it wasn't even the last time the newspaper was used, as the same clipping showed up around the 17-minute mark in the masterful sequel, Air Bud: Golden Receiver. Get it? He plays football in that one. Mel magazine reached out to the film's prop master, set dresser, and screenwriter about the discovery, who all said they didn't know about the shocking detail beforehand, nor could recall who wrote and designed the obituary prop. The byline of the obituary reads Raul Ingles, the assistant to the film's director, but crew members' names are commonly used as small details in movies, and Ingles says he doesn't recall writing the obituary, stating that it might have been a group effort. Though considering the shocking nature of the message, the mystery of who exactly was responsible for the offensive lines may be forever a mystery, as I highly doubt anyone wants to take responsibility for that one publicly. One thing's for sure, it definitely doesn't help a movie that didn't need to get any worse. But if anyone does feel like going through every frame of the movie to look for more hidden messages, don't be surprised if you lose all respect for this guy by the end of the film. Mars Needs Moms. Thanks to YeahIDunno for submitting this to the Oddheader Discord. Mars Needs Moms is a 2011 motion-captured animated nightmare of a movie and one of Disney's biggest flops to date, and a hard-to-watch return to the horrifying Polar Express animation that nobody asked for, that ended up losing the studio over $100 million. The film follows a 9-year-old boy, Milo, who takes his mother for granted. But guess what? Mars needs moms, and now he has to save her. The film is largely forgotten, except for the fact that Milo was originally played by Seth Green, before Disney thought his voice sounded too old for the role and re-recorded Milo's lines with an actual child actor at the last minute before the film was released. And honestly, they weren't wrong.
Mom, no one likes zombies. They're an abomination. I'm committed to their annihilation.
However, since Seth Green also provided the motion capture for Milo and the character model is based on his likeness, his presence is still very much all over Mars Needs Moms. Then in 2018, when reviewing the film, YouTuber Rebel Taxi began the call for the release of the earlier version of the film with Green's voice acting with the hashtag release the Seth Green cut, in reference to the fans who called for the release of the Justice League cut that was first director Zack Snyder's original vision for the film, with release the Snyder cut, as he quit before the final cut was released due to disputes and let the final cut up to Joss Whedon. The Snyder cut eventually was released on HBO Max in 2021, unlike the Seth Green cut that Disney never released, or so everyone thought, as YouTuber Cinephile Studios revealed that he did have the Seth Green cut and the way he obtained it was right under everyone's nose the whole time, as 2 years prior he filmed a review of Mars Needs Moms and ripped an MP4 file he believed was the movie from the Blu-ray to use as visuals to play during his video. Yet when he played the MP4 to edit his review, he heard Seth Green's voice. He didn't think much about it at the time and assumed it was an option on the disc, and ripped the correct video file for his review, not realizing he was actually looking at the lost media the internet was dying to see for years, until he saw the calls to release the Seth Green cut circulating online. The Seth Green cut apparently laid undiscovered on the Blu-ray for nearly a decade, probably because no one actually was trying to watch it, but also because it isn't a selectable option on any of the menus or normally accessible in any known way. It was noticed in the director commentary mode, which syncs live action footage to the movie. You can actually hear what sounds like the original audio in the background. However, ripping the Blu-ray myself, the commentary track already has the background audio in it, whereas the Seth Green audio is a completely separate audio track that appears to go unused. No idea why this is here, but it looks like release the Seth Green cut was rather pointless, considering Disney actually had released it. It's just no one expected the only way to watch it was to data mine it from the disc. Again, not that anyone's actually planning on watching it. The Rescuers. Thanks to Cyberjazz for submitting this discovery in the comments of my previous movie secrets video. The Rescuers is a 1977 Disney film about Bernard and Bianca, two mice agents of an international aid society on a mission to rescue an abducted orphan girl named Penny. A movie that was a childhood staple for many generations as it was released on VHS in 1992 and then again in 1999. The 1999 VHS release particularly remembered for a rather infamous secret, as it was recalled only 3 days after its release because in this scene where Bernard and Bianca take off from the runway with Orville and nosedive into the streets, if you were to pause at just the right time, an image of a topless woman can be seen superimposed over one of the windows in the background. Hello. The image remains on screen for about 2 frames but is easy to miss if you're only paying attention to the cute mice, which hopefully that's what most of the children were doing during this scene, considering Disney distributed over 3 million copies of the VHS before recalling it. Whoops. Some of you may be wondering if someone working on The Rescuers 1999 VHS reissue was inspired by the film Fight Club, which came out the same year, as Tyler Durden does something very similar in the movie as a film projectionist. However, the January 99 re-release of The Rescuers VHS actually predates Fight Club's October release by a few months. Apparently, the explanation given by Disney was that for the 1999 VHS release, they accidentally grabbed the wrong version of the film, which was the reason the image didn't appear on the earlier 1992 VHS release, as evidently the 99 tape used a version of the movie they had sitting in the archives they didn't realize had one tiny little difference. Makes me think this probably wasn't the first or the last time that Disney messed up this badly. Now, if you excuse me, I'll be revisiting my old VHS collection to see what else Disney might be hiding. Guardians of the Galaxy. 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy was a game changer for Marvel movies, largely influencing later titles like Infinity War and Endgame by introducing an expansively detailed sci-fi adventure unlike any before, following an offbeat cast of misfits and an adventure that strings together multiple elaborate settings across the galaxy. Because of this, it's easy to believe director James Gunn's claim there's an Easter egg that remains in the film that's still unsolved to this day. Through the years, some fans have casted doubt on there being any egg at all, believing it to be the ultimate troll, prompting Gunn to even say to one fan he would give them $100,000 if there wasn't an unsolved Easter egg in the film. And it turns out what Gunn was referring to all along appears to be something previously discovered that was never properly solved. Throughout the film, when the movie jumps to different locations throughout the course of the adventure, different coordinates display on the screen which some hardcore fans have already figured out are actually ciphers hiding secret messages. For example, at the Kiln space prison, the cipher suspiciously says this isn't real. It's still unknown if every coordinate holds ciphers, and Gunn has confirmed very few of the messages on Twitter. One YouTuber in particular, Mastertainment, spent a large amount of dedication trying to string all the known messages together and believe he found an overarching message in the scenes with possible clues about Star-Lord's mother, that when translated said, "Shh, this is Mom's cancer, Meredith Quill X." And while Meredith Quill is the name of the protagonist Star-Lord's mother, you may have noticed this makes no sense. It seemed further confirmed this message was the unsolved final piece of the puzzle when Gunn was asked about the final Easter egg and said a particular YouTuber had partially discovered the egg, and that they knew who they were. From here, Mastertainment noticed that his original solution for Meredith Quill X seemed a little weak, and worked up a different solution that gave him Meredith Quill BD, which didn't really seem to make any more sense. Mastertainment thought about this for weeks and finally concluded that BD had to stand for Baby Daddy, assuming this was a hint foreshadowing Star-Lord's father's appearance in the sequel. Gunn was asked if this was the final Easter egg, responded that Mastertainment's theory was not completely wrong, but not completely true either. One YouTuber even made the theory the completed message may completely recontextualize the movie, as the line "this is not real" could suggest the protagonist's mother as a being who's controlling his reality. Gunn cryptically retweeted the video saying "amazing work," clarifying he may be onto something, but it was still not the full final secret he was talking about. It's still unclear from the solved message so far what exactly is correct or what this is trying to say for sure, as it remains to be seen if the message can even be properly solved or if Gunn owes someone $100,000. I can say with certainty though that BD standing for Baby Daddy is very likely the wrong part that James Gunn was referring to. In the hunt for these mysteries, we might just need some video editing tools, so why not check out Filmora 11? Filmora 11 is the perfect editor if you're just starting to edit video. It's made as intuitive as possible, so you don't need to spend hours or even days to learn it. You can simply jump in and start editing. There's tons of ready-made preset templates like filters, overlays, and animations that could help you create a professional video very quickly. All you gotta do is drag and drop video onto the editing track and you're on your way. Then simply trim the clip, crop the video, adjust the voice, and optimize the color. And Filmora 11 now features the plugins Boris Effects and NewBlue. Boris Effects is a leading developer of visual effects software and plugins for film, video, and photography creative professionals. NewBlue also offers intuitive, powerful post-production plugins and live graphic solutions to simplify complex editing tasks. These two plugins are described as being great for editors who like to make high-tech, spatial, futuristic, cosmic videos, making Filmora more powerful than ever. Don't forget to check out the link in the description down below so you can try Filmora completely free today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and if you know of any other movie mysteries and discoveries that you'd like to see me cover, submit through Oddheader.com, come join a Discord, or even send me a shout through Twitter or Reddit. Shout out to Alexander Knight, Angel to Fox, Archduke Eco, Ash Photography, Andrew FM, Chad Biscuits, Grow Ups, Combat 15 Bowl, Ed Moffat, Eddie Talkspin the Bleach Primid, Fox M Cloud 123, Frosted Flakes, Leo Mowers, Lucky 7, Miss Arctic Foxy, Nikki Forever, Oliver Pearson, Riley S, Robert Eisenman, Scarities, Starcore 2, Sneaking J, Taryn Stock, Towerizer, Trey Adams, Vincent, and Jan Benier for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.